Hi folks, today we're here on the Amelia River at the extreme south end of the park for the marina here, and I'm with Frank Fiella. Frank's got a brother named Frank Mike, and Mike and I went to school together, and Frank and my wife Dale went to school together. But I'm with Frank today because Frank is, like I, was born and raised here, and I just wanted to interview him and get his thoughts on growing up here in Fernandina. So Frank, thank you for doing the interview.
Thanks for asking me.
Well, you're more than welcome. This may not be the last one. We may do more. But Frank, what are some of your fond memories about growing up here in downtown Fernandina as a kid? And I know, like me, you grew up here in the downtown area.
Well, several areas in the downtown area actually, but one of the most vivid things that I can think of, and our children today don't get to see or even experience, is the fact that they can walk out their door, go down 5 or 6 blocks and play with some kids on the street, and your parents knew exactly where you were.
So true. Oh my gosh, so true. I've never figured out quite how that happened, but boy, it was. And if you did something wrong, they knew about it before you got home. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I remember the first cigarette I ever smoked was behind the courthouse, and of course we lived 4 blocks on south of the courthouse, and when I got home, my mother was waiting on me, and then when my dad got home, I had to face that. Wasn't a pretty sight, but it didn't stop me. I went ahead and smoked for a few years, but I finally gave up that habit about 40 years ago, and I'm glad I did. Frank, there was a lot of unique people in this town that we all grew up with, or we all remember in our childhood.
Yes.
Who are some of the ones that stick out in your mind?
Well, basically, it was your store owners. You could walk in there if you needed something, and walk in and just say hello, and they'll give you a piece of penny candy.
Yeah.
And there was nothing behind it other than just friendship, kindness.
That's basically it. Yeah. You remember Miss Sanders' store on the corner of 3rd and Nash?
3rd and Nash, yes. Yeah.
She, Miss Sanders, her son, Clayton Sanders, he was finance director for the city for years.
Yes.
Whenever they needed a city manager, her son, Clayton, always filled the bill temporarily. But Miss Sanders had a store, and it was right on the corner of 3rd and Ash, where if you go down there today, they just built a brand new building. I don't even know what it is.
I don't either.
Where that store was, but it seems like it was on Wednesdays. Wednesday afternoons that was a treat for me, because I'd ride my bicycle to Miss Sanders' store, and I'll never forget it. She had a big barrel full of sawdust. And there was pine. I mean, when you opened the barrel, the sawdust had this pine oil smell to it. But what they used to do, they had a big scooper, and they would sprinkle this sawdust all over the wood floor. And it wasn't a finished wood floor, it was a wood floor.
Yes.
And I would sweep. And of course, they knew if you swept well or not, or good, because if you didn't, there would be sawdust on the floor. But Miss Sanders made, what was it? It was sugar cookies, oatmeal and raisin, and one more, and I can't remember. Maybe peanut butter. I don't remember.
I think it was the peanut butter.
I think it was.
Yeah.
But you remember them wide mouth jars she had, and they were something like 2 pennies a piece or something. But that was my pay. I got 3 cookies every week for doing that. And I don't know, that just sticks in my mind with those cookies and Miss Sanders.
Well, I mean, that was a treat when you walked in there, and you were right. They were 2 cents a piece.
Yeah, they were 2
cents. But you could get 3 for a nickel.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
So, that was just fabulous, and
yeah, you could get 3 cookies for a nickel.
Yep.
And it was quite a quite a place to go to, and then you remember my grandfather's boatyard was right here.
Yes.
Exactly. And this is why I picked this spot today. this is, and I'll put a photo up of that boatyard and possibly the fish house too. But you know, kids would come down here. Did you ever visit down at the boatyard?
I wasn't allowed to.
You wasn't allowed to?
No. That my dad was afraid that I'd go out on the docks and fall in or something. I don't know what but I was told unless he was with us, we couldn't go on the docks.
I'll be doggone.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I should have been banned from them, you know, when I was small. But gosh, I cut my teeth out here on this river, and it's a wonder I'm even still alive. But I'm here.
All the things that we did. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember having a boat. Oh my gosh! Ever since I can remember, I had a little boat, and the first one was just a little sailboat, and I'd sail that boat up and down this river, and I don't ever remember sinking it or turning it over or anything, but I'd shoot across. You can probably see over across the river some of those little islands, and I'd go over there and plunder around and call myself looking for Blackbeard's treasure. Never found it, but it was, you know, you were over there looking. Frank, going back to the days when Center Street was straight and we had all the parking that we ever needed, and you know, we had wasn't there a grocery store on Center Street? Wasn't it? There was Piggly Wiggly.
There was I think before Piggly Wiggly it was Setzer's, wasn't it?
Well, Setzer's was up where the Antique Market is now.
Yeah.
But before that, I remember a grocery store. It seems to me like it was on the corner of 2nd and Center. Where the big brick building is now. I don't know. It just seems like I remember that.
Me personally, I don't recall that.
Yeah. I don't either. But if any of you out there have any memory of that, you know, private message me and let me know.
And if you have pictures.
Oh yeah. If you have any photos that you have, if you'd like to text them to me, you know, I'll definitely use them. And any memories that you have of growing up here in Fernandina, and things that stick out in your mind, you know, share them with me, because this entire series we're anticipating is going to take between 14 and 16 months to do. Maybe not as long, and then again maybe longer. You know, I don't know. There's a lot of history here, and it just seems like a shame. I mean, here you got old people now like Frank and I. And, there's one thing about it. We're not going to be here as long as we have been. We know that, but you know, for the old timers like us that were raised and born here, I mean, this is great. I've heard from people up and down the East Coast and from out west now that's watching this, and they just, you know, they say how much they like it, how much it brings back memories for them. And, you know, don't stop it. And we don't intend to stop it. And then for the new folks that are here.
Well, see, that's just it. The first time you visit this island, it just draws you in.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I hear a lot that, you know, I wish the things haven't changed the way they are, but if they hadn't, we wouldn't be where we are today. You know, I was gone for 40 years. I was out in California. Yeah. But I came home.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I left. The only time I ever left Fernandina or left the island was 3 years in the military, and back in '64 to '67. But I've never. I mean, I've always stayed here. Never left. I don't really know what it's like to live anywhere else, you know, except here. But you know, if I had to go back and do it all over again, I wouldn't change a thing. You know, it's great. But there was sure a lot of memories and a lot of things growing up. You said something interesting on this segment that we did about Arthur the Oxman, and we were talking about Florida First National Bank. And you said that you remember when it was a vacant lot. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And Claudine Nunez, she said when they moved here in 1959, the Boy Scouts were having a big camp out there on that lot. Do you remember that?
On that corner, yeah.
Because you were a Boy Scout.
Well, let's see, and I wasn't a Boy Scout at that time, but I do remember them camping out there.
Yeah. And after she said that, I remember, I definitely remember too. You remember the Army tank that was always parked there behind it?
Yes, yes, yeah.
And
oh my gosh, I haven't thought about that.
yeah, and somewhere, folks, I have a photograph of that Army tank. How it got here, I don't know, but once a year they'd crank it up and they'd drive it up and down the streets, remember? And
no, I don't remember ever seeing it run.
Well, I do, and the reason I remember it, when I was a kid, it was in the summertime, and there was a couple of places that the tracks went down in the asphalt and left, you know, marks in the asphalt, and but I don't know who the tank belonged to. Was it the American Legion? Was it, I don't know, National Guard? I have no idea who owned it or what it was.
I just remember it sitting there.
Yeah, it sat there and kids played on it, and I wish we had some more stuff like that to put in the city parks, you know, today.
Really, yeah.
For the kids to play on, but
yeah, but there'd be, well, anyway.
I can't think of a better place for people to raise children though.
No,
than right here.
No, this place is as much as it has changed, it hasn't changed.
It hasn't. It really hasn't. I mean, people talk about, well, we got so many new people here. Well, we do. But, you know, I remember the days, and so do you, when we really didn't have anything here. Nope. I mean, you know, if you had told me 30 years, 40 years ago that we would have a home and a home, Lowe's, Home Depot and a Lowe's, I would say you're crazy. You know? So, you know, with the growth, it also brought things that we needed, and be it good, be it bad.
Well, the one thing that hasn't changed, and that's it, you can still make the circle.
That's right. You can still make the circle here downtown and at the beach.
And at the beach.
Yeah, and believe me, as we were growing up, how many times do you think we did that?
Infinite.
You're right.
Friday and Saturday night, that's about all you could do.
You're right.
You got to go to the freezette.
Yeah, and the freezette. That's exactly, well, that's where Dale and I met, was at the freezette. Yep, 1965. But I tell you, it's I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. And it's just, it's been, this series I've really enjoyed doing, and we'll continue to do them. If any of you have any photographs that you would like to share, please just private message me. Go to Amelia Island Footprints on Facebook. And you can send them to me through there. Or if you have any thoughts that you'd like to share about growing up here in Fernandina, share those with me. And I have a lot of photographs, and, you know, perhaps I've got some photographs to go with it, and we can get it, you know, we can put it out there, okay? Well, Frank, I've enjoyed it.
Same here, Nick.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
For just spending, you know, 10 minutes with me today. And like I said, this won't be the last one for you and I. We've got some other places that we're going to have to go talk about.
I'm available.
I know you are. I know you are. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure. I hope all the old timers and the people that grew up here, I hope this sparks some memories, and I hope for all you newcomers that have come, this has just piqued your interest even more in the history of this place and what it was like growing up. We'll have 2 more episodes for you next week. Until then, take care and God bless.
And send your stories to Nick.
Yeah, send the stories and the pictures. Take care.